So thank you, everybody. Appreciate it to come into the privacy talks. This time it's a great honor to invite Dr. Cavoukian from Canada this time. So I'm very happy to explore why she created the concept of the privacy by design. Also, she has many experiences at the privacy space. Today, so we can start to talking about these topics together. So Dr. Cavoukian, thank you for coming this time.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you. So let me start to introduce with her profile. She's recognized as one of the world's leading privacy experts, leading the Privacy by Design Center of Excellence at Rice University. Dr. Cavoukian is also a senior fellow of TED Roger Leadership Center at Rice University and the faculty fellow of the Center for Law, Science and Innovation at Sandora Day Honor College of Law at Zona State University. Cavoukian served an unprecedented 3 terms as the Information and Privacy Commissioner of Ontario, Canada. There she created Privacy by Design, a framework that seeks to proactively embed privacy into the design specifications of information technologies, networked infrastructure, and the business practices, thereby achieving the strongest protection possible. In 2010, international privacy regulators unanimously passed a resolution recognizing privacy by design as an international standard. So Dr. Cavoukian, thank you for coming.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's move on to today's agenda. I'm asking about your currently working at the Rice Universities. So you are leading the Privacy by Design Center of the Excellence. So what?
I should also actually tell you that I've started my own consulting firm now, the Global Privacy and Security by Design Center, and it's just taken off, and I'm just so pleased.
Oh, really? So what do you do there at the universities? Just a teaching, education?
I teach a course on the Privacy by Design framework.
I see. So maybe the Privacy by Design framework could be applied to the many space in the business scenes or public technologies or many fields. So how we can make these practices into the like our business designing?
I want so much to attract businesses to understand that if they embed privacy proactively into the design of their operations, they gain a competitive advantage. And companies have told me this repeatedly, because customers are very wary of privacy, lack of privacy these days. There's such an enormous trust deficit. If you embed privacy by design, meaning it is an essential part of your operations, where you protect your customers' personal information, you give them enormous comfort. Companies have told me it builds trusted business relationships. And that way, customers are on your side, if you will. They want to help you advance, and you want to help protect their information and use it in the ways that you told them it would be used. It becomes a win-win. That's what Privacy by Design is all about. I
understand. Yeah, you are established the 7 foundational principle.
Yes.
When it's come to you are coming up these ideas originally. So why did you set the 7th principle? I'm wondering everything of that. Yeah.
You know, it was in my first term as Privacy Commissioner of Ontario, Canada. And you see, I'm a psychologist, I'm not a lawyer. So when I started the job as commissioner, I had a legal team full of lawyers and applying the law to the fact situation, and very valuable, but I wanted something different. I wanted a model of prevention, just like a medical model of prevention, where you try to prevent the privacy harms from arising. That's what I wanted. So I remember literally at my kitchen table at home over 3 nights, I came up with the 7 foundational principles of Privacy by Design, because I wanted to show the lawyers in my office and my other staff that we could find ways to embed privacy protective measures into the design of our operations, bake it into the code, make it an essential component of your business operations, and make it work for you. So that's how it all started.
I see. Yeah, that's a very great idea because I've been working on the technology space field the almost 3 years, especially the blockchain. However, we have many issues, especially the default technologies, because
Yes.
not all the engineer is aware of the privacy concept. So that's why we have to encourage this kind of the essences to make
Yes.
sure the more privacy protected. So yeah, the next topic is about your experiences. You said you had experience at the Ontario as a privacy commissioner. So what did you there? Then was your role to work for the Ontario?
So privacy commissioners in Ontario have a very strong role. We have what's called order making power, which means that we can investigate privacy infractions, data breaches, and if we find that they've broken the law, then we can issue an order saying you must do this to correct that mistake, that breaking away from the law. But the beautiful thing about having order making power, it gives you the stick, if you will, and the other side knows you have that authority. So then they're much more likely to sit down with you and informally resolve the problems associated with the data breach or whatever. And it makes for a much better working relationship with whoever you have oversight over. So I was very lucky, and we had wonderful relations with so many of the organizations that I oversaw.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. From your experiences, maybe there is a many privacy commissioner in the world. So what do you expect it for them? Then we have a Japanese privacy commissioner as well. Then we have a very different granularity of the privacy protections. So
But in Japan, for example, at the end of my last term, I got a letter from JIPDEC, the Japanese Information Processing Development Center, and they told me how much they loved privacy by design and abandoning zero-sum either or win-lose models and embracing positive sum, which is an essential part of privacy by design, which is win-win, that you can have privacy and data utility, privacy and security. That was the modeling I wanted to advance. It doesn't have to be tied to a law. It's all about how can we protect the data and ensure that it is serving the purposes you need as a company or organization. So it's that win-win model that goes a long way.
I understand. Yeah. So we are working as for the privacy by design concept in the society as a not-for-profit organizations. In the context, there's some people is just thinking about the how we can apply into the regulation, but actually the privacy is not for the regulation, is that for the entirely the designing of the society. So that's why the concept is a very excitement for all the engineers, the business people, the policymakers need to be aligned for these elections.
And I loved working with engineers and data scientists, cryptographers, because they were the ones who actually could entrench the privacy protective measures into the operations, into the design, bake it into the code. So it becomes seamlessly available to everyone without having to do anything to change it. And that's why I wanted privacy to be a presence throughout your operations. And companies have embraced that.
Yeah, that's a trend. We have to invest it, not just for the money, it's just for the big return in the futures. So the next topic is about the more practical things, especially you are assigned as the sidewalk graph is that the developing in Toronto. I was researching many things related to these topics because the smart city is the one of very big investment all over the world. Of course, we have some district in Japan and try to transform in human-driven society with new technologies. So I'm exploring that you had an interview once you are resigned from the advisors. Then there was a very interesting topics to me. So what was happened at the Sidewalk Labs, and what did you do that?
When Sidewalk Labs hired me a few years ago at the beginning of the Smart City, they were contracted to build in Toronto, my city where I live. I was delighted because they hired me to embed privacy by design into the operations of the smart city they envision. And I love that because I wanted privacy. I want to have a smart city of privacy, not a smart city of surveillance. So after I studied it for a while, I said to them, here's what you have to do. Because of all the technology that's on all the time, 24/7 in a smart city, you have to de-identify all of the data that is collected the minute it's collected. So, cars driving on the street, you pick up the license plate numbers, you de-identify it right then and there, strip it of the identifier of the license plate number. And that way you still have a lot of data, but it's not linked to a personally identifiable source. And they went along with that. They said, yes, that's great. We like that. So that's how we devised the smart city, until they had a lot of criticism from Jim Balsillie, who said, well, I don't care if they're protecting privacy. Why should you, Sidewalk Labs, be the only ones to govern the data, to use the data that's collected? So in response to that, Sidewalk Labs created something they called an urban data trust, which simply meant that they would not be the only ones to control the data. There would be an urban data trust, a group consisting of different levels of government, Sidewalk Labs, and the various IT technology companies delivering the services. And then they said, and we will encourage all the companies to de-identify data at source, but we can't make them do it. And the minute they said that, I knew I had to resign. That was the only thing they didn't consult with me on, because you can't just leave it up as a choice. It has to be across the board. So I resigned the next morning, and they were very upset. I got calls from New York, and why are you doing this? And I explained it to them. But then I also got a call from what's called Waterfront Toronto, which was the governing body for this project. And they called me and they said, come work with us directly. We believe in de-identifying data at source. Let's make this happen. So I left Sidewalk Labs and I ended up working out with the company, actually with the organization delivering the project.
I understand. I assume this kind of the wrong action will be happens in other cities as well. So what we
yes,
will be learning from the Google's failures, and how we can change the mindset to develop the privacy based on the smart city.
And Kohai, the whole thing is, I'm on the International Council of Smart Cities, and all the smart cities in the Far East, Shanghai, Dubai, they're all smart cities of surveillance. They track everything. That's not what we want in a free and open society.
I understand. Yeah, that's a very great, excellent message for us that need to be having in mind to develop the roadmaps. So I would like to have a last topics about the future landscape for the business. Maybe we trying to apply this privacy by design principle into the business developments. So who should lead these dialogues in the organizations, especially like developing the leading the teams or structuring the processes? So who should lead this concept?
It has to be a group affair. So the first thing I do when I talk to a business, I meet with the CEO and the board of directors, and I explain to them how embedding privacy into the design of their operations will help them enormously. That this will, oh, sorry. Did I lose you?
Just you are not singing, but yep, you can go ahead.
I can go ahead? Okay, sorry, I don't know what happened. So what I say to the CEOs and boards of directors is what you have to do, and once they understand that embedding privacy into their design will benefit them as a company, then I say, okay, what you need to do is put me in touch with the chief privacy officer, who has to form a team with the chief engineer, and the various heads of the departments who will be delivering this. And once they can do that, then as a group, you have much greater chance of success at embedding privacy by design into your operations than if it's just one person, the chief privacy officer. You have to get a team, and then that'll drive it forward.
Yeah, thank you. That's very knowledgeable because we are trying to work together with the many enterprises now, but the problem is they are not understanding this concept, and they are not how they can apply these things. So this is a very great knowledge. So
Right.
I'd like to about the messages for the listeners because the many privacy experts is seen in this channel, as well as some Japanese people that try to become a privacy first, especially
Yes.
like we try to work with the JPTech, as you mentioned about.
Yes,
They
yes,
also
yes.
the many privacy individual is try to cooperate together for the future developments. And it's a very honor to be given a message from you to the future privacy experts in Japan.
Oh, thank you. That's so kind. I believe in privacy so strongly, obviously. It forms the foundation of our freedom. And it's essential that we do this and that we do it properly. And we can do this. That's what I remind people all the time, is that we can, in fact, do this. We just have to be, oh, good. We just have to be committed to delivering privacy and data utility, functionality. We can do this. I can give them hundreds of examples. We wrote a paper when I was commissioner about 2014 called Operationalizing Privacy by Design. And it was all about, it was a compilation of 22 papers that we wrote with all of the leading tech companies. Think of any big company, a tech company, Microsoft, Intel, HPE, IBM, Oracle, and many others, to show that this could be done. And it's practical, and you get multiple positive returns. That's the messaging.
Yeah, that's a great message. We try to keep working harder than keep working it together, not just live in the isolation. Is that to me cooperating, collaborating in between the privacy experts worldwide. So I think that's your message is great for all the individual is started to work in this space, and we can keep them working together for the future
Yes,
privacy
and exactly. You put it beautifully, Kai.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for coming, Dr. Cavoukian, this time. I'm very appreciated to have a call this moment. Then let's keep working together for the
Yes, for sure. Contact me
this
anytime.
side.
And let me thank you for doing this work. It's invaluable. You're bringing this message to companies and businesses. They will gain from it, and society as a whole will gain from it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, we started the Privacy by Design Lab. Is that the name after your concept? And we try to succeed in your passions to the societies together. Thank you.
Wonderful. I love it. Okay, bye-bye. We'll keep in touch.
Bye.